Hey everyone, so 343 has published finally their Halo Infinite campaign network co-op preview blog post thing that I will link in the description if you want to read along. They're talking about really all the technical things happening with Halo Infinite's co-op campaign that's finally on the horizon of being released, and you really should be ready to be disappointed. But should you be surprised since it's Halo Infinite? I mean, this game it should be called Halo Disappointment. But nonetheless, let's dive into what's happening here with Halo Infinite's co-op campaign feature. They start off by talking about how you can have 4-player co-op campaign in Halo Infinite. What's really nice about this is you can have people on any sort of machine that will enable you to play Halo Infinite. So you can mix and match any sort of PC with Halo Infinite, any sort of Xbox One, Xbox Series S or X, and even the cloud streaming service, even if you don't even have an Xbox. All of these sorts of devices can mix and match and play Halo Infinite, and it says that the co-op campaign is going to be happening through dedicated servers. There's a question in this blog post that says, co-op campaign is such a beloved feature of the Halo experience. We knew it was definitely something Halo Infinite would and should have had, but the road to making a reality would have extended a bit beyond launch. What were some of the challenges the team faced here? They said one of the greatest creative challenges has been in how we support this new, more open experience and the many new questions that were raised. How do we set up a shared world state? How do we keep the fire team together? How do we determine intent and mission focus? How do we prevent sequence breaking the narrative? They also were talking about kind of progress with Halo Infinite, and one thing that is nice is they're saying that everyone's progress is going to count towards their own saves, and I think that's really nice. There's a lot of times where you'll join co-op. This might have even happened in previous Halo games on the 360, where you join as player 2, and that doesn't carry over as your own progress. You're kind of just a person occupying a co-op state. And once you finish it, you're going to have to go through all of that your own to get that progress on your own machine. With Halo Infinite, that's all going to carry over between what you do on your own and what you do on co-op, if that's what you choose. To kind of elaborate on this, they described in the blog post that they could be playing solo campaign, jump into a co-op session for a few hours, and then go back into solo play, and all the mission progress, acquired collectibles, equipment found, achievements earned, and upgrades in either session would all be intact. And I think that is pretty cool. They're kind of labeling this as no Spartan left behind, so when a player joins the fire team and chooses their save slot to play on, the game aggregates the states of all missions across those saves and sets up a world state in which any missions completed by all fire team members are marked as complete, while any missions not completed by all of them are incomplete. So if one person hasn't done a particular area in the map, that's going to be marked as incomplete for all of them. And I think that's nice. That allows that the people who have completed it to have a second run through and get to experience this again and maybe learn something new. And of course, the people who haven't experienced it yet will have the chance to play that for the first time. So here's really where the rest of the video kind of takes a turn, and it's disappointing from here on out. Starting with the characters that are available to you when you play co-op campaign in Halo Infinite. There's a question on the blog post that says, there have been lots of different flavors to campaign co-op in Halo in the past. In some entries, you're a squad of multiple Master Chiefs or Arbiters. In other games, there are additional characters that are present, kind of similar to Halo 3. What approach does Halo Infinite take to campaign co-op here, and why? And it simply just says, in Halo Infinite, everyone is chief when playing campaign co-op. That is to support the goal that co-op campaign allows players to play their campaigns together. All progress made is kept in the campaign, regardless of being played in solo or co-op campaign. So much like Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, and Halo 4, Chief is Chief making his way through Zeta Halo. And I think that's really just a bunch of baloney, because quite honestly, people want to play as playable elites in Halo Infinite. And I think for some odd reason, as this series progresses, more options are seemingly taken away from players to kind of express themselves. If memory serves me right, you've never been able to play as an elite in any 343 Halo launched game. And I don't know why that necessarily is, why they have some sort of hatred of forcing you to play as a Spartan. I get that the majority of players will pick a Spartan, but allow people to pick and choose. Take, for example, Halo Reach. It was great to see maybe one or two people on the other team being an elite. Granted, elites didn't have as much customization as Spartans in Reach, but imagine if it did in Halo Infinite. I think that'd be a really good selling point to players. And when you play Halo 3, everyone is a different character. There's Master Chief, Arbiter, and then two other elites. I forget their names, but that is the case. So I think that's just really disappointing and kind of a cop-out, letting everyone play as Master Chief. If, at minimum, you're going to allow people to play as their own characters from multiplayer, I think that would be pretty nice. Or if you had playable elites, maybe you could give the option, if people, all players in the lobby want to play as Chief, enable that option as well. Just give more choices to the player. Here is the part that really upsets me here in the blog post. The world of Halo Infinite is incredibly expansive. Can I decide to go liberate a fob base while my co-op buddy heads in another direction and take down a high-value target? How exactly does the game handle if players get too far apart in the open world? How will it handle players being separated in the more enclosed missions? And I think this is just really atrocious what they're saying here. The answer is, the whole point of playing it together is just that, playing together. Co-op allows a group of friends to join up as a fire team and tackle the various locations on the ring together. To that end, we've established what's called an area of operations. That's the maximum distance that players in a fire team can stray away from one another as they explore and tackle the challenges of Zeta Halo. If you stray too far away from your fire team, you'll get a warning to return to the team. If you ignore that warning and continue, you'll be killed for going AWOL and will be spawned back to the nearest teammate. They kind of elaborate how large is the area of operations. You say it's an interesting balance to strike because we want players to have the fun of fighting together, but we also don't want it to feel like the game is forcing you to be joined at the hip, so to speak, which is precisely what this is. We landed on tuning the area of operations with an inner warning radius of about 800 feet and an outer kill radius of about 1,000 feet. If you two want to hit a really big objective like the Banished dig site, the area of operations will definitely allow you to tackle an objective from that size from opposite sides with room to spare. I don't know if this is really what Halo players wanted. Me personally, I think that this is really an excuse, meaning that this isn't necessarily a feature, this is a restriction because they couldn't figure out how to let you roam the entire Halo ring without catastrophic problems happening, is my guess. Because I made a tweet about this, talking about why this is so unacceptable in today's gaming world. There are examples of games from the Xbox 360 generation where they let co-op players go pretty much anywhere. I think the two best examples are Crackdown 1 and Crackdown 2. These launched in like 2007 and 2009, by the way. And if you wanted to just go out and tackle all of the missions entirely separately and never see your ally ever again as soon as you start, Crackdown 1 and Crackdown 2 will let you do that. And I don't know why Halo Infinite won't let you do that either. I think some of the best examples would be if you wanted to just split up and go about your own business, that's totally fine. And maybe if a teammate in your fire team is going to tackle a big objective, whether that's a fob base, a high-value target, rescuing some Marines, whatever the case is, that will create a prompt and will allow you to either fast travel to the fob base closest to where that teammate is starting that point, or directly to them, or you could ignore it altogether. And the choice is really up to you. If you want to go tackle whatever you're doing, then your teammate can go do whatever they're doing. If you never want to see each other again, I think that's totally fine. And that kind of is what makes Halo so much fun, is it's a sandbox that allows you to explore this and go about your own way. Maybe in settings, you could, enable this option where you can keep people glued to the hip, as it were, with this area of operations thing, if you wanted a more traditional experience. And of course, there's those big banished bases that you go into for your kind of campaign missions. And maybe once a fire team member kind of starts that prompt, everyone is teleported into that base and you go do that mission. So you're all back together again. I don't really see what the problem with this is. Some people on Twitter are kind of defending this, and I don't like this at all. I think this kind of really ruined my joy for this co-op experience. if this is just about as big as a large banished dig site, what's going to happen when, as soon as this game starts, a co-op session, and like two people get in a warthog and just drive off in different directions? I mean, is it going to be like 10 seconds before this warning thing shows up? That's not going to be a whole lot of fun. There's other examples I listed too on Twitter of 360 generation. These are 2 generations ago of games that are either open world or semi-open world that allow co-op players to go anywhere and the game doesn't complain. So I listed Crackdown 1, Crackdown 2, Dead Island Riptide, Sniper Elite 3, GTA 4, GTA 5, Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, Borderlands pre-sequel, Saints Row 2, Saints Row 3, and Saints Row 4. And that was just off the top of my mind. I'm sure there's probably a lot other examples of this. But the fact that they couldn't get this done is extremely disappointing to me. This has really taken all the excitement I had for co-op campaign. I will stop kind of bashing this now and pass the question on to you. Are you disappointed about these 2 limitations that 343 once again is presenting to players in Halo Infinite? The first is everyone's playing as Master Chief. Are you upset about that? Would you have rather played as an elite, a unique character, or bring your multiplayer character appearance into Infinite? Kind of similar to what it was in Halo Reach. Or are you also upset about the kind of glued to the hip feature in co-op campaign, 800 feet before you start to die? I really do not like this, and I'm sure there's going to be modders who will find a way around this limitation and allow players to have fun. I know this game has gotten a lot of flack, and deservedly so, and it's such a shame because I think at its core, Halo Infinite is truly a fun experience. I enjoyed my time in the campaign, and I didn't enjoy my time in multiplayer, but I do think at its core, the shooting and the gameplay is fun. It's just everything around that. 343 seemingly cannot do anything right, but that's just my opinion, of course. Once again, I pass the question on to you. Please let me know in the comments, and if there's any more exciting Halo Infinite news, I'll be sure to make another video talking about it. This is your first time on the channel, well, here at Team Respawn, we love to make fun of ourselves playing games, so if you're into Halo Wars 2, Age of Empires, or right now Call of Duty Zombies, you can check out those things. Otherwise, this Infinite update is coming out pretty soon. That's going to do it for me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you, James.